are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, hearts, heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, hearts, heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, hearts, heart and soul. Lily white, lily white, lily white and navy blue. Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, heart, heart and soul. Lily white, and navy blue. Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, heart, heart and soul. Lily white, lily white, and navy blue. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, heart, heart and soul. Lily white, and navy blue. And navy blue. Navy blue.
Good evening to everybody everywhere. This is Spurs Diehards Tottenham till we die. Yeah, going to be a quiet one tonight. Not much to talk about. We've been backstage already gathering momentum. I've just finished up on Sean Butler's show. Big up to Sean.
Big up, Sean.
Yeah, big up. We're going to get straight into it. I want to welcome the two regulars that we have for myself and Adrian, my co-host. We have the regular Steve Silver. How are you doing, Steve?
Oh, excellent, man. Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. It's going to be a quiet night. There's absolutely nothing in Spurs universe that is actually even remotely covered. We're covering tonight, so it's going to be just us, just kind of shooting the breeze.
Yeah, I mean, if it was any cooler outside, because at the moment it's about 84 degrees, but if it was like 50s or 60s, I could just feel like curling up with a book or maybe some hot chocolate and just not even thinking about anything. It's boring. Who wants to be a Spurs fan? Alan, how you doing?
Oh my God!
Sunny and yeah.
Well, I wish I could say I could curl up with some hot cocoa and marshmallows, but I can't. It's been a stressful week. As a simple Tottenham Hotspur fan, it feels like we're back. The season started again. Yay! Okay, we're back to it. But yeah, I'd love to get into it.
Adrian, what do you think? How you doing?
I'm fine. I know we got quite a bit to talk about, haven't we? I mean, obviously there's the Eze fiasco and there's obviously the transfer rumour news, and obviously Thursday is the draw for the Champions League this coming Thursday, guys. I'm sure every podcast out will be doing a show on it. Anyway.
All right. Well, yeah, we are going to get into it. I want to welcome in some people in the chat. Nita, thank you so much for coming in again, love. A chat regular. Stradders, pick up Stradders. Thanks for coming over, man. Good to see you in here. Since you can't get enough Spurs content right now, especially as there is zero credible news regarding transfers. Very true, very true. Scattergun approach as usual, and we'll see what stray bullets hit. I don't know. A wild animal that we might be able to drag into the training ground and convince to be a left winger. Beast of TH, thank you very much for coming. Good to see you again. Good to see you. Says I reckon Paz will sign at 10:30. Is that tonight or the 30th of October? Because I think 30th of October might be a little bit late. Drula is a Franca. Says evening, Drew, Adrian, Alan, and Steve in chat. Drula, good to see you. And then Nita says the same. And some, I should be clicking on these so that people can see. There we go. Boom, boom. What am I doing? What are we doing here? Sound like Sean Butler now. What are we doing here? So yeah, into it. Dave Clark, hi from Leicester. Great win for England ladies rugby union side. First match of the World Cup, 11 tries against 1. United States. Oh well, United States terrible at rugby. Spurs just got a new Korean star, Something Wong.
Something wrong.
Milton Nabrega. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Where are you in Australia, Milton? Tell us where you're in Australia again, please, mate.
And we've got Graham over, Spurs GCTV. Good evening, Graham. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, boys. I tell you what. Let's do it. Let's just get it out of the way. Let's get it off our chest. Let's treat it like the bloody Band-Aid that it is, and just rip it off, throw it in the trash. Alan, talk to me about this week. Get it off your chest, and then we'll just forget it ever happened.
Well, I'm a simple Tottenham Hotspur fan. I'm not an ITK or someone that gets really in the know about anything. You know, I hear it on the news. I see it. I kind of see it when I believe it with Tottenham. And again, it's one of those moments, just like the Morgan Gibbs-White fiasco. I allowed myself and my hopes to get up. I allowed my hopes to get up, you know, and I kept my hopes up. Eze is the kind of player that I think united the fan base. He may not be the best in his position, but he is by far the best of what was available. And you know, and I think, it's just so frustrating that it's not my money, right? But I know whenever I do business, I don't go and order food or whatever and just kind of stand there and wait a couple of days to see if they'll maybe drop the price of whatever it is that I'm ordering. You know, it just seems like if we really truly wanted to get him, we would get it. I mean, remember the Mohamed Kudus? We got Mohamed Kudus like that. I mean, it was pretty quick, and it came out of nowhere. Even with Eberechi Eze, we knew he was coming, but we faffed. And we've done this before. This isn't the first, second, or even third time. We did this with Paulo Dybala, I remember. We did this with Willian. You know, again, I just, as someone that hasn't been in it for as long as you guys have, it's really frustrating. It stings, especially because it was Arsenal. I mean, we have to be said, it would sting no matter what, but it's a little worse because it's Arsenal, and they kind of just piggybacked all of the hard work that was done and stole it away. So it's frustrating. It doesn't feel like they have. I don't know if they have a contingency plan in place. You know, I'm assuming Thomas Frank has a wish list of players, and I'm assuming Eberechi Eze was on that list, but definitely struck through now. But I just don't know who comes in next. Everyone else seems like it would be a panic buy, which is what I was worried about last time, was that we were going to panic buy. Yeah. And now we're really going to panic buy for different reasons, but we're going to panic buy now. I just don't think that we can compete in the Champions League and in the Premier League with the squad that we have. We need to bring in players, and we just don't have a lot of time. And the players that I think are available are on teams that have no incentive to sell at a lower price than whatever they price them at. And they will most likely inflate that price because that's just how the game is played, right? Unfortunately, that's part of the game. And in this instance, Daniel Levy's is the loser in this game, which is surprising considering how long he's been an owner. You'd think he would know how to play this game well, but maybe some people just have blind spots, and this is definitely a blind spot for him. He really should have someone else do the negotiating. I'm surprised he didn't have more. Maybe what's his name? Who they brought in from Arsenal? Why didn't he do all the negotiating?
Well, I heard that it was Johan Lang that was leading the charge on this one, just like Morgan Gibbs-White, which should tell you everything you need to know.
he needs to pull out. We need to get him in training with Rambo or something.
Well, there's a rumor circling. We were talking about it earlier on Sean's show. Apparently, there's a rumor circling that he's sort of half out the door, and Paratici's potentially coming back in, but it won't be until after the transfer window. Steve, what's your take on the whole thing? Because obviously we were sort of talking in the background, and you were actually one that told me a couple of days prior that it was pretty much a done deal and he'd agreed terms. I mean, let me just, I'll hand it over to you. Have what you want to say. The one thing I will say, and I know we were talking backstage earlier, and you said personal terms had been agreed. I'm of the mind, and I'll just summarize it quickly because I don't want to go on. I'm of the mind that I think it was a little bit of a game between that lot up the road and Crystal Palace. I think the plan was, I don't know, this sounds all a little bit conspiratorial now that I'm saying it out loud twice, for the second time. But there's a part of me that thinks that maybe they were just trying to drag us along and make us look like idiots. And although Eze had agreed personal terms, or said to have agreed personal terms, it's not done until it's done. Yeah. And you can agree personal terms on the understanding, maybe in the background, that the deal could still not be done until the last minute, and you can wait and hope for your dream boat to come in. And, you can, for all intents and purposes, say, hey, let's do this. I'd love to go to Tottenham. Okay. But all the while, kind of just wait and hope. I mean, the way that it was looking was that maybe this deal wasn't getting done until the last minute anyway. And my conspiracy brain says it's because Eze, the agent, whatever, they were somewhat pushing for it to be last minute because they were desperately hoping that Arsenal were going to come in. That's my take on it. I'm going to wrap it up, say no more. Steve, what do you, before we say big up, Dave, thank you very much for coming in, mate. How are you?
Harris Army.
Yeah, not too bad. Busy evening, lad. Busy evening and a busy day tomorrow. But you've been asking me nearly every Friday over the summer about my family things and that going on, and for whatever other reasons I haven't been able to make it, but I'm glad I can finally repay for the time you give me.
Well, I really appreciate it, man. I really appreciate it. We'll come up to Steve and then we'll come down to you and take your take on the whole thing. Steve, give me it. What do you think?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, man, big up, Dave. I hope your dad's doing well, and big up to the entire Harris Army out there. Good to have you guys along tonight. First and foremost, it's 100% shambolic. That's the first word that comes to mind, but it's also 100% embarrassing as well too. And this is coming off the heels of another embarrassing encounter, trying to get Morgan Gibbs-White over the line, and now all of a sudden there's another player that actually was willing to come to Tottenham, and they can't get him over the line. I don't know how you guys feel, but it's been a long time since I've felt this type of embarrassment for my club team that just simply cannot get a deal done when it was teed up for them to get it done. Again, here's the thing. I don't buy the narrative that we got played because in no uncertain terms, I can't understand how you would get played when the player actually agrees to personal terms. And the only thing that's left is the team to actually pay the freight to get the thing over the line. And yet in the 11th hour, they still can't do the right thing. And then they have to try to lowball him to try to bring Richie into the equation, who, by the way, would never even accept a deal to Crystal Palace to begin with anyways. So it was a moot point to begin with anyways. And then of course there's the blowback, right? And of course he ends up at Arsenal. But the reality is this isn't on Eberechi Eze. This is on Tottenham Hotspur for not getting it done. Right. And what's funny is everybody wants to blame Levy. Okay, fair enough. But the reality is this is Johan Lang. This is his job. His job is to improve the first team. It's his job to bring talent through the door. And now we have his fifth transfer window now in this leadership role. And every single window, it's gotten progressively worse. How many more windows do we actually have to put up with this dude making these decisions? Can't sell the club to youngsters, can't sell the club to experienced players, and now all of a sudden we're left with egg on our face again, less than a month after we had egg on our face in the Morgan Gibbs White debacle. And so this is exactly where we are. We're at a point where we're 9 days away from the window closing, and from where I'm sitting, I have no confidence in this team that they're going to be willing to get one through the door, let alone two. And it just goes to show you what happens when you don't have a transfer strategy. You don't have a plan in place. You don't even really have a set list of targets. You're kind of throwing darts at a dartboard, hoping somebody will say yes to you and take your money. Meanwhile, you don't have a contingency plan in case players get hurt or in case players say no. And now all of a sudden the season starts, and as Alan just mentioned, it's like we got the Champions League on the horizon. There's absolutely zero confidence as far as I'm concerned, not just being able to compete in the Champions League, but now I'm starting to wonder whether or not this team is going to be able to compete in the Premier League. And so I get a little emotional about it because, this is just absolutely ridiculous. Right. And it's kind of tough right now to save face when I know some of my friends who are Liverpool fans and some of them are Fulham fans. It's like, yeah, well, at least we're not Tottenham.
Well, Dave Clark says here it took 2 hours for Arsenal to secure the transfer, which proves that Levy is a fraud. He hasn't stepped away from the financial decisions. Dave, let me ask you this. Do you really, really think Arsenal did this deal in 2 hours, or do you think they had ins with Palace? They were saying, keep us informed. We'll update the Word document with the necessary zeros when you tell us what you've agreed, and we'll just come in and gazump you. Because I genuinely do not believe it's possible in this day and age for a deal to be concluded in 2 hours. I think that's just nonsense. Sorry, David. I think it is. Dave?
No. Yeah, look, I hear what you're saying. Look, obviously, from reports earlier on in the window, there was contact between the clubs and the player and Arsenal's representatives. That much is out there, that much is evident, and that much is known. You can't dispute that. However, they didn't do the deal. They didn't do the deal, and they only done it when Havertz got the injury. And then look how quickly they got it wrapped up. That's the issue. Tottenham had a free run at this for about a week before that Havertz injury. And, all the reports out there was we agreed personal terms. He had no problem coming to Tottenham. It seemed like we had agreed personal terms. But what was stalling it, and the reports over the whole weekend, even leading up to that, was it's between Daniel Levy and Steve Parish to negotiate the terms of the payment and deal that's going to get done. Now, if you go off the history of Tottenham when it comes to big major deals like that, we protract negotiations because we're trying to nickel and dime on the big negotiation. When you're going into these negotiations, first of all, Tottenham were well aware of Arsenal's interest when they went in to try and do that deal. So they can't use it as an excuse not to get the deal done after. And if they didn't, even more concerned that they have no clue what's going on in the fucking transfer market, which should be ringing alarm bells anyway. But they had more than enough time to try and get that deal done nice and swiftly. But this is Tottenham's problem. When you've got a player of his quality on the market, and we've already missed out on one, you've got Maddison injured, you've got Kulusevski injured, and you've got Thomas Frank screaming for a guy in that position, or we wouldn't be trying to get these targets, and you don't get the deal done, and you're now failing another manager. Half of Postecoglou's problem was they gave him kids to work with. And we got naive performances on the football pitch week in, week out last season, and we're about to go into the season with more or less the same team. You can say we've signed Kudus and Paulinho, but we've lost Kulusevski and Maddison. So it's basically 2 out, 2 in. There is not really a major improvement off the back of last season. And that's a huge concern. And that's that happens all the time at Tottenham Hotspur, where managers are being left short, hands behind their back going into the season. It's also a massive PR disaster. If you're going to go up against Arsenal, which they try to do, you do the negotiation swiftly. When the big deals come about and you've got a game changer like him on the market, you have to go into negotiations already willing to maybe pay a bit outside of what you want. If that means you have to pay an extra $5 million to sweeten the deal and accelerate the process to get the deal done, you fucking do it. What you don't do is sit there, nickel and dime. Well, if we win the Premier League, we'll give you $5 million. If we do this, and then Steve Parish is sitting there going, well, you're never going to win the Premier League, so I'm not accepting that. And then he's going to try and come up with every other ingenuitive way. And we can say that's not true. That's Daniel Levy's history when he's negotiating. At the end of the day, I get what you're saying, Drew. but they only triggered it after Havertz's injury. And look how quickly they got wrapped up, you know, and they have a history of getting big deals over the line in seasons gone by. We don't. And that's where I blame the Tottenham Hotspur, and that's where I blame Daniel Levy. We can use all the excuses that Eze came through the academy. Well known when the week before people were saying Eze's coming. Don't go mad about the transfer window. Don't protest. Don't worry. Eze's coming. He didn't come, you know, and that's why I'm absolutely fed up with it. I'm just sick of it. We have a history of not getting big deals over the line. It's a history at this football club with Daniel Levy in charge, and that's where I do blame him. He wanted to go toe to toe with Arsenal. He got embarrassed. He takes the fallout.
All right, Adrian.
We move.
Give us your 2 cents, and then we'll move on to what we need to do now.
Right. We move with the speed of a striking slug in the transfer market, don't we? I mean, I think Eze's agents played the blind rear. Arsenal always known he's always wanted to come. Eze's agent would have been in contact with Arsenal before the Havertz injury because his player wants to go there. And it also would have been, you know, talking with Parrish as well, who maybe Parrish didn't care who he sells to as long as he gets the amount of money he wants. And then Havertz gets the injury. This wasn't a 2-hour deal, David Clark, like no way in a million years. Just look at the way other these deals go. You take and when people say it's not just us, it depends on the player, the length of deal. It's a myth to say that other clubs.
We say a deal can't get done in 2 hours. They get done in 2 hours on transfer deadline day. Not
without previous discussions, Dave. They don't.
Yeah,
no way. No, it just
there's
too much to go into. There's too much to go into. And what I'm saying by this is it depends on the player. Some players are easier to do a deal than others. We got Danso in pretty quick, right? Even Kudus, right? But then you look at Man United, right, with Mbuemo. How long's that taken? And even with Kuna, right? They activated his release clause on the 1st of June. Conversations were going on before the 1st of June. How long, we don't know. We're at least a week. You don't have to be talking for at least a week when you're talking stuff. And then they signed him on the 12th. So that's 19 days. I think on average, the quickest you can really do a deal, if it's a player, a quality footballer, is probably about 2 weeks. I think that's the quickest. Now, I'm not defending our club on this because we've been notorious slow, right? I'm just so pleased we got Polina and Kudus because I love both those players. But as you rightly said, Dave, we've lost two. The only bonuses we've got are the fact that Romero signed a 4-year and Spencer signed up, and we finished the payment on Danso. That's a bit of a plus. But because we haven't done nothing for a little while, we foul on this. It feels like we haven't done nothing at all. Everyone's deflated, and I get that. So now we're pushed for time. We've got we got to the 1st of September to get players in. I'm sure we'll get into it. And I think we will.
If you transfer takes 2 weeks, then we're out of time.
No,
I know. Well, Adrian, just give us because I'm sitting here now questioning everything because, it's one of those things, right? It's staring you right in the face. I mean, Dave makes a brilliant point. I mean, you can do a deal. I mean, 2 hours, all right, that may be, but you can do a deal in a very, very short period of time. And the prime example is the last day of the window when lots of deals do get done that you didn't expect to get done that might not necessarily have taken a couple of weeks. So, I mean, I kind of feel that's a valid point that really, as I say, it was staring me in the face and I hadn't really thought about it.
It's the background to those deals, though, and depending on the player, you can get a deal done in a week or whatever like that if you've had previous interest and previous discussions with the club. A lot of these last-minute deals, how many are really panic buyers and how many aren't panic buyers? How many of ones you've shown an interest in, you've had talked to the club before? You can if some groundwork's already been done.
The difference is on deadline day, though, Adrian, no one's negotiating. Yeah. If you want to pay, you're paying the price. The reason why they take longer over the summer is because you have bigger rooms, so clubs are more negotiating and stuff. But my whole point around the Eze thing is if you got a player like that of quality, you have to already going into negotiations be of the mindset that other clubs are chasing this guy. He's quality. And that's where, because other clubs that would be chasing these players can offer the chance of competing for silverware season in, season out. That's where Tottenham have to be the smarter guys in the room and act decisive and act quick, show intent, and that way, if you start doing them quicker, you will lure some of these players over.
Well, my thinking on this in these last 9-10 days, I think I've not given up hope because I think we'll get loans to buy deals. I like them. Try before you buy deals. Anyway, back to you, Drew.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's. It's done and dusted right now. Is water under the bridge. He's with them. I don't want to hear any more about him. I don't want to hear about them. What do we say, Steve? What do we say?
Kulusevski forever. I don't know.
All right. We ate Woolwich. We ate the Woolwich.
Oh
Fuck
yeah,
it. Fuck
yeah.
Woolwich.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go.
Fuck Arsenal.
All right. Back on the page. So I'll tell you what. We'll come back to you. We'll come over to you, Alan, and I want to bring up the question from Pure Coys TV. Coys. Nige from Pure Coys, really appreciate you. Says, do you think if we get Savio, we will give up on getting a 10?
No.
I guess, and that's maybe coming off the back of potentially Thomas Frank saying the one player as opposed to players potentially in his presser earlier on. Alan, what's your thoughts on moving forward? Let's pivot. Let's not look behind us. Let's go forward. What do you want to see, and where do you want to see it?
So with Savio, as best as I can tell, Man City really don't want. They're being very coy with us. They are kind of not in any required, or they're not backed into a corner. They're not required to sell him. So they're sort of playing coy and saying, no, we don't want to have him. But it's kind of like, but then they kind of invite higher bid, unless they bid higher, the bid is higher. But they don't say how high. They just kind of say it needs to be higher before they would even entertain something. So I don't know that we're going to get him, but I think regardless of Savinho, and I don't want to say a 10, we need a playmaker. We really need a playmaker. And I don't think that that's going to change regardless, because Kulusevski's out now till 26. Madison's out until probably, who knows? I know. So I just feel like no matter what, we're going to have to get a playmaker. Probably two, because anyone we bring in will probably be run ragged like last season, what we did with our players, running them ragged. And then we risk their injury, So we need two.
Right. Well, this is the concern, right? You bring one in and you can't then play him every game. You've got to either then back up to the 10 that you bring in, because our 10 are backup.
Otherwise, you probably see a significant drop off in productivity, and so we're in a very tough spot, and I feel like a lot of this is self-inflicted. If we would only do things earlier in the transfer window, for never. Oh,
like he's not having him. He's not having him. Not having him.
If we act earlier in the transfer window, then if we run into disasters such as this or the Morgan Gibbs White situation, we have a lot more time to act. But we've backed ourselves into a corner because I think Levy, and maybe that's how he and his entourage like to play it. They like to slow play everything, and that can be frustrating, but that's par for the course. But when they slow play things that need to happen, that absolutely need to happen, sometimes you need to feel a sense of urgency. And I just don't think that Levy has that sense of urgency when money is on. I feel like in The Princess Bride, it's not death on the line, but it was money on the line. And Levy's kind of that guy who's like, when money's on the line, never mess.
He's already said that spending in the upper echelon isn't sustainable. I mean, he put that in an interview, right? So you already should come from the understanding that sustainability is kind of his buzzword, right? So those type of deals are just something that just completely makes him uncomfortable.
But that's part of the problem, I think, because to be a big club, you're going to deal in bigger numbers than what he's comfortable with, and that's part of what's holding us back. Arsenal paid over $100 million for Declan Rice. That's been working out. They paid what was it, 60+ million for Kai Havertz. They paid a ton of money. Not that we haven't, but they've paid a lot of money. What did they say? Is it £1 billion without a title? Is that what they were saying about Arsenal?
Yeah, somewhere around that sort of echelon of money.
Well,
Let's
to get back to the original question, yes, I think we're gonna be in the market for at least 2.
Yeah. Steve, number 10, left winger, and then lead into. And I think Dave will appreciate this. Did we see this coming when we hired Frank? Because he is a coach that is renowned for getting the best out of existing or potentially not, players that aren't necessarily considered world beaters. So, are we maybe, I'm trying. I wanted to try and be an optimistic show with joy and unicorns, but I mean, is this just going to be par for the course again?
Well, I certainly hate to shit on your unicorn, but it is what it is, right? This is just exactly how this continues to play out year after year after year. But that being said, to answer your question, 100% has to be a 10. 100%, because at the very least you have Batista and Wilson Odobert in the ranks on the left hand side, and if it's true that Thomas Frank is the young prospect whisperer, at least you have something already sustainable there on the left hand side. And quite honestly, I don't necessarily believe that bringing in a guy like Savinho for £70 million is actually going to make such a difference that it's that it's going to make defenses reassess exactly how Tottenham's going to attack them, right? So from that standpoint, I'd rather have the 10, because as of right now, we don't have one. Right? There is no secondary guy. The secondary guy in that position, it's literally just nobody. And from that standpoint, regardless of how we like to set up, whether it's a 4-2-3-1 or whether it's a 3-5-2, it's all contingent on having that focal point in the center of the pitch. That that you have to have a focal distributor on this team if you're going to have any type of success, whether it's in the build-up or in the counterattack. And right now, we look at how Spurs are attacking right now. Right, they literally have nobody in that. They have nobody in that central area. So, as far as I'm concerned, right now the objective should be to get into 10 through the door, through hell or high water at this stage. But that being said, and it gets back to just
you would do a 10. You would do a 10 before a left winger.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And if that means that it's Nico Paz or El Canus, I'm actually going to try to scour the earth to try to get at least one of those players through the door. But the reality is, it gets back to what Alan was saying and what I was saying and what Dave was saying and what Alan was saying. The reality is do you have confidence that they're actually going to be able to get one through the door? After watching this house get burned down over the entire summer, and watching the egg on the face, it's like, to me, I have no confidence, right? Even to get a guy like El Canus through the door, I don't know. I'm at that point where it's like too little, too late.
Well, they're saying now Nico Paz, but people use that name as if that's like a name that everybody knows. I have no clue who Nico Paz is.
He's awesome.
Dave, you shake it. Nico Paz is a Argentinian midfielder, plays for Como in Italy. He is owned 50% of by Real Madrid. They have a buyback clause next summer for like 7 or 9 million euros or something like that. So the rumor is that if Como are going to sell him, they want high number because 50% has got to go to Real Madrid. Yeah. And there's even a rumor that Real Madrid have part say in whether he can be sold. So it's a very, very difficult deal to do. Look, one thing I will say is that I am down for an Argentinian that's got a bit about him. The foundation of this club has been Argentinian with a bit about them. But I absolutely concede that a 20-year-old from Como is really not what we should be thinking about right this second. Dave, take the floor. Go on. Let it go, mate.
Honestly, this is the part. This is the start of the transfer window where I start to become really frustrated and really annoyed. I mean, we're talking about a 20-year-old and a 21-year-old in El Canus, right? Not being funny. How was that gone for us in the other transfer windows where we spent big money on youngsters? we've fallen down to 17 in the Premier League table. People can say, oh, that's because Ange deprioritised the Premier League. Okay, but Thomas Frank is in a position where if he prioritises the Premier League, he doesn't have the strength and depth to go and compete in the Cups. The reality is the squad is hindering what we're trying to do here. So he's still going to be in a position where he's going to have to, prioritise one competition over another. But the reality is, where I got really annoyed earlier on in the summer transfer window, and I know people were getting annoyed at me, and I know Drew was telling me to calm down a little bit, but I'm seeing all the other top clubs in the Premier League make their moves, bring in their big signings, get them in nice and early so that they can integrate. We're pissing about trying to decide what manager we want to bring in. Then when other clubs are still doing moves, we're taking a week on whether we decide whether we want to bring Frank's backroom staff or not. All pissing around in transfer window. And at the time, I smelt a rat. Says, hang on, this is a cost-saving method by Tottenham. They're not going to spend big this summer, and they're going to bring Frank in to develop what we've already got because they think it's good enough, and they don't want to admit that we're wrong. And it seems like this window is starting to pan out like that. We're in a position now where all the big game-changing players that we actually needed, regardless of who the manager was this summer, they're all gone off the market. People are talking about Lucas Paqueta. In what right mind do people think West Ham's owners are going to sell their rival club Tottenham, their second best player, in the same transfer window? It's not going to happen. And whoever thinks Daniel Levy is going to sanction money on a guy who has a history of betting around him, not going to happen. It's not going to happen. The reality is, we're left in the market now for an El Canous, for a Paz, but they're not going to come in and change Tottenham on the football pitch. They're not going to come in and bring the quality we need. In the last few years, potential is what's got us into this situation. We're trying to fill, and I know people say, Dave, get over it, but this is the reality, and you need to accept it. We're trying to fill the void of Harry Kane and Son. Factually, the greatest ever partnership the Premier League has ever fucking seen. That's the void we're trying to fill. And we've gone about it by trying to bring in potential. And the reality is, people are getting frustrated with it. These youngsters are getting caned week in, week out because in Spurs fans' eyes, because we have no one else, they have to be the answer. And they're not good enough to shoulder that responsibility at Tottenham Hotspur, nor are they old enough either. It's an absolute disgrace. And we've tried to fill it with potential. What we should have done is actually filled it with players that are ready to produce and then supplement it with potential. We've gone absolutely arse over tit with it. So we tried to rectify our mistakes this summer. Daniel Levy got TV'd by Marinakis and Steve Parish. He got his pants pulled down by clubs that, to be honest, are lucky to be in the Premier League. This is how embarrassing it's getting as a Tottenham fan. Smaller clubs than us pulling our pants down when it comes to negotiations. Clubs where I remember we used to take Forest off and West Ham off and Palace off for sport when I was young. We used to take their best players regularly. Now they're pulling our pants down. This is how embarrassing it's becoming. But the reality is, we're just now taking a gamble. Now, remember when we had Steve Hitchen and we made all them atrocious signings, how long it took us to get them off our books, how much it hindered us in transfer windows because of squad space and all of that bollocks. If we now panic and bring in gambles, we're putting ourselves back in the same position next summer where all of a sudden you've got 5-6 extra players outside the squad you're allowed and you don't know what to do with them. So I'm actually at the point now, unless it's a game changer, don't panic. And bring back Mikey Moore and Jamie Donnelly, give them their opportunity. They're the same age as some of the guys that we're talking about. And I would argue, you look at what we went and spent on Matisse Tell. Mikey Moore had a bigger impact last season than what Matisse Tell did in games. And this is the problem. We keep spending money on youngsters that aren't working out and taking gambles, and I'm fed up with it. I'm at the point now, if you can't get the right player, don't take the gamble and don't give Frank any more headaches because all you're doing is bringing in another 20, 21-year-old in the door. And when Frank looks at that left wing or that cam position, he's looking at maybe 2-3 options that can play there. And he's going, well, what one do I pick? None of them are going to change the game for me. What one do I pick? I might pick this guy this week. He'll be useless. So I rotate and give that guy the next game. He'll be crap. It's just one big giant headache the guy doesn't need. So for me, I'm at the point, don't fucking panic. Hold on to the money and reinvest it in January at this point. And I think Thomas Frank is the same. That's why Thomas Frank is sitting there saying one player. He knows that 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds ain't going to change the game for him. So he's at the point where he doesn't want Tottenham just to bring in players for the sake of bringing them in to look good. And people say we have 11 days left, 12 days left. Daniel Levy has 8 days left. That protest form at home game is going to ramp up the pressure on that guy. And I can tell you now, there's fuck all there last week. Fair enough. Understand it. Looked like Eze was getting over the line first game of the season. But by not delivering Eze, you have pissed off the entire Tottenham fan base. He's a player everybody wanted. and there will be massive numbers down at that protest next week. So he has to get his fucking act together.
Adrian, what's your
experienced players on loan? I'd be going for this guy if you can get him on loan. He's 27. He's fantastic footballer. And believe it or not, there's been a lot of rumours. I mean, there are younger ones. I mean, like, I would take this guy tomorrow as well. I know he's 23, but he's fantastic centre back. But this guy, they want out of Roma. He's a phenomenal talent. He's still in the Italian side. 29-year-old right-footed DM, attacking midfielder. Year left on his contract, and he's only on $6 million a year wages. Go and get him. If we need breathing space, which Dave is half alluding to because he don't want to spend money, go get this guy and you get him cheap. And I know it's cheap, it's Levy's way. And like, go and get Danny Olmo. He's not getting the game time. He hasn't had the game time where he's been. You could get him on a loan. We could give it. We've got time to give ourselves breathing space in this transfer window. Like, you know, it's not. You know, I mean, everyone. The Eze deal would have united the fan base because everyone. I wanted him last year, and Dogu. They were the two players I wanted us to bring up on record of that. But that's gone now. We have to move on. You know, people have vented their spleens. We have to move on. If it's experience you want, get this guy in. And go and try and get Danny Olmo.
Adrian, it's what we need. It was glaringly obvious last season. As good as Bergvall, Gray, and that were, we still finished 17th. As much effort and heart they showed, we still weren't good enough to win games with them. The reality is we need proper players in the door ready to produce. It's not just what we want or what we need or like what we're wishing for. It's a case of need at this point.
And we can't. I mean, okay, Burnley. We had the youngest midfield ever out on the field, I think, with Sarr and Graham. Bergvall, right? But you can't go into every game with them. We may well set up with a back five tomorrow, but I'm sure you get into that later. Anyway, if we want experience, there are a couple I can think of. The younger player that I would take would be Ancapi, but I know we're talking Ledfield number 10. Look, why is it so critical we have a number 10? Why is it so critical?
Let me ask you this, right? Let me spin something. What if, and this hypothetical, I'm just trying to spin a positive out of something. What if Pep Guardiola is looking at Liverpool at the moment? He's looking at them potentially, probably, I don't know, maybe picking up Isaac. He's looking at Arsenal. He's looking at that lot. I caught myself. I'm never going to say their fucking name. That lot up the road have bought Eza. Is there a world where Pep Guardiola has realised that everybody around him is kind of levelling up a little bit, and actually his front line on the left with Savinho isn't actually as potent as it could be, and he's thinking that maybe they need to make a move on Rodrigo, but they're stringing us along as long as they can. Yeah, they're basically, I mean, it was always going to be after the game at the weekend, right? But they're basically sniffing around Rodrigo. They're getting us to pay as much as we possibly can to subsidize Rodrigo. Yep. So then we get Savio, they get Rodrigo.
Yep.
Is there a world where, and I know this isn't ideal, but can Thomas Frank tactically, with the players that we do have, and given the fact that you do have a lot of options on the wing, so there is the potential to swap players out. But I guess short question is, can you do without a 10 until January? And can you get a formula to work well enough where essentially, I mean, not necessarily a 4-4-2, but it is basically wing play. Like, you can't tell me we don't have a midfielder that can't sit in the middle and feed it to one wing or the other and just let the wingers do the damage and put balls into a very eager Richarlison and hopefully a more fit Solanke, who I think with a bit more about him and given better balls could arguably do a job at the end of a cross. Like, can we circumvent the 10 with a lot of dynamic wing play until we can actually get a ball of 10?
I just don't think our wingers are good enough to circumvent, having
What if it was Kudus and Savio? But that's what I'm saying. What if it was Kudus and Savio and they were being backed up by Odeber, Tell, and Johnson?
Yeah, but you're still going to have to rotate them in and out. And I just don't see. Look,
Yeah.
Johnson's good at scoring goals, but he's not exactly a prolific wide man in terms of taking on his man, delivering consistent crosses. Odeberg can beat his man, but there's not a lot of end product there. He's raw. Matisse Tell, again, hasn't really shown a lot of end product, and that's my problem. We're not good enough just to supplement, half of the season with just wide play. You can't expect Kudus and Savio or Savino, whatever you want to call them, to play every single game, and that's the situation we're going to find ourselves in. And anyway, Savio was never going to be enough on his own. You had to bring in someone like an Eze with this guy, and also a good team has as many different components, and that's what gets you through a season. Some games when you're playing against teams at low block, that's why you do need your number 10, your Bentancurs, your Papamatasars, your Polinis, even Bergvalls, and they don't have the passing range, they don't have the vision to unlock them. They just don't. And against, you're going to come unstuck a lot of times. Then there are going to be games where will get away with a Papamatasar, a Bentancur, and a Polonia. Like you might get away with it tomorrow against a City because it's about sitting in, soaking up pressure and breaking. You don't necessarily need the number 10. But this team badly does need a number 10. It really does, massively. You need all components. We are not good enough. Like mostly under Ange Postecoglou last year, a lot of it was wide play. A lot of it went down the left-hand side. We proved we weren't good enough to break teams down. We weren't. And that's my big problem. I get what you're saying, and I know you're trying to look for a positive. I think the positive is that Frank can make us more of a tighter unit, more of a cohesive unit, which naturally you stop conceding goals, give you a chance to win games a hell of a lot more. And maybe the long throw, the directness from set pieces, we will pick up goals from there. We can bully teams like Romero, Van de Ven, Danzo, Bentancur, Paulini, Richarlison, Solanke. They're all big guys. Look what we've done to PSG. Look at the size of them in the box compared to their players. That's the way we can go around it. But then you really are admitting you're not a great attacking team, and you're all almost sort of going down the West Ham route, the Burnley route. Is that the team we want to be?
No, he's absolutely right. No, he's absolutely right. And I think that's been evident, especially since the Arsenal preseason match, right? The key to success for this team is going to come through the defensive side of the ball. Being compact and organizing the ball with high pressing and try to create turnovers high up the pitch, right? I mean, as far as the buildup is concerned, it's almost non-existent. And especially when you take that center focal point from the middle of your pitch, you're almost designed to kind of be in that type of counter-attacking mode. Where if you're lucky, you're going to get a couple high whistles, and maybe you might ping some balls in on set pieces and free kicks and things like that. But for the most part, Dave was absolutely right. The idea that you're going to be able to circumnavigate certain things with a wing core that's absolutely just hot garbage at this point. It leaves less to be desired. I mean, considering that every single time when defense is set up against it, they overload the right hand side just to specifically designed to take Kudus off the ball. And then what's left? There's no creativity in our passing. We're not actively switching to the left-hand side to try to get other people involved. What's even more hamstring is the fact that we don't necessarily have quality wing backs that can actually stretch defenses down the left-hand side to try to make up for the deficiencies that would happen when teams do try to take us off the ball. On top of that, when's the last time that Pedro Porro was active in the attack, coming up higher and trying to kind of facilitate some of that distribution as well too. It's as of right now, we are the definition of a very solid defensive club that has to rely on the counterattack.
All I've heard since Porro and Udogie have been at this club is that they're not defenders, they're wing backs. And you just said we don't have wing backs. Did I hear that, or did I make that up?
No, I think what you're saying is we don't have good enough wing backs to stretch the opposition.
Correct.
Is what you said.
You don't think Porro or Udogie being coached by Thomas Frank in a 5 system couldn't
it depends
be good
on
enough?
if they're actually playing in a consistent 3-5-2 where Kudus and whoever's up top, and you actually allow Pedro Porro to actually play that role. But that being said, when we're playing in a double pivot, they're keeping Porro drop back for defensive purposes, and it's generally Jed Spence on the left hand side that's kind of playing that role. And Jed Spence is I guess quick enough, but he doesn't have that ability just to kind of stop, cut, create space, and play balls into the box. He's literally got to skin his guy just to try to force a ball into the box. He's not necessarily that that type of creative wingback.
That's fair enough. As I say, I thought Thomas Frank was being brought in to coach these people out or coach these kids on how to do these things. And if you'd have seen Udogie Udinese, he was blistering down the wing. That's all he used to do. He would be on the wing and he would cut inside as well, and he would do a pretty good job. I don't know. I just think, and I get where you're coming from, Steve. It just it sounded like you were talking about a team that had 6 months under a coach and they weren't firing, and we're about to go into his third competitive game. So I don't know. I'm just wondering if we also expect. I don't know. Maybe we're expecting a little bit too much from him. I don't know.
What this does is just shows the deficiencies of his team, because regardless of what formation you're going to set up, it's completely obvious, and a team like Manchester City is going to actually exploit those weaknesses 100%.
Yeah. Fair play. Beast to TH, big up. Drew, we don't have a decent enough left winger. Well, I did say that if we got Savinho, we'd have Savinho on the left and Kudus on the right. So that was the caveat, if. But big up.
On that, though, on the Savinho thing,
yes,
we're playing City away tomorrow. The three teams we've got the most wins against in the Premier League are Everton, then Man City, then West Ham. I think we are a bit of a bogey team to them. Doesn't mean to say we're going to win tomorrow. But on the Savinho, so as we're up there tomorrow, we should just make them the offer. And if they don't want, then move on quickly. And then if they don't want to get rid of Savinho, seriously, if I was anything to do with this recruitment team, and I'm not, I'd be going back to Real Madrid and say, look, how much to loan Rodrigo for a year? And if it was 20 mil, I'd pay the money and get him in. It'd be the most expensive loan deal going, but I would pay the money. And as Daniel said earlier, I know about Omar's injury. It's not long term, right? When I researched it and do all the banners here, I do look at the players' injury records and things like that. And I would still go to get a loan for Omar as well. And I would love Henkapi, although he's not a player of more importance, of more priority in our window, because we're looking more at the forward end of the team rather than we are left back and left centre back. And obviously that deal would take longer to do. So I don't think that'd be more left field at this stage, But Omar I'd go for, and even Pellegrini, right? 29. We brought Perisic in. What does his experience bring to our seat? So I agree with Dave on the experience angle. Pellegrini's done it all at international level, right? Go and get him. He's only on 6-7 million wages. They want him off the books because he's got a year in his contract, right? So a lot of teams won't go for him. All the clubs that are richer than us or done better than us and whatever, they won't go for him, right? We could get Pellegrini, and I think it would be a fantastic addition. I really do, So, but I'm looking at loans to buy now. I like that old try before you buy. I love it, right? Sometimes you're forced an obligation to buy, but I like the try before you buy. So go get Pellegrini. I think there are some deals where I'll agree with Dave, you can do them quicker, but some deals are more complicated. I think we could get Pellegrini. Omar wasn't getting the time when he was fit anyway, right? Because and Barcelona are struggling with their registration of players again, and they need money.
Well, I guess we've obviously, we left it till the last minute, so we're going to have to pay a premium. You would hope that, I guess, you target the sort of players that your name in there. Then maybe there's a happy medium somewhere.
Part of my reason is based on the fact that you may pay over top for a loan, but then that's better than being stitched up, being overpriced when clubs know we're desperate for players and getting a couple of players in and paying what would cost more than that loan anyway. And you've got the money to do that, and that would improve us. It would be temporary, but it gives us breathing space.
But there's a lot.
Yeah, go on, Dave. Go on.
Would it not highlight how much of a catastrophic failure this window has been, though? Because, like, you know, the money's there, so they wouldn't have been in for Ezzy and Morgan.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the
spend.
nail on the head. What didn't help us is the fact we're getting a manager in. Then you have to talk to the manager about players he likes, and all that. That all takes time. The window opened. What was it on June the 1st? I mean, like, and we've done nothing. I mean, until we went and got Kudus in, we've done nothing for weeks because of the situation. But leaving stacked hands, you know. I mean, like, where's the replacement immediately? Why isn't it done? I mean, like, we know that Johan Langer and Frank worked at coaches together in Dingby before he took over at Bromby. They knew each other. It shouldn't have took that long to get Frank in. That deal should have been quicker as well. And I mean, yeah, go on, Dave. Sorry.
The thing is, where we are in the transfer window, though, even if we do, right, you know, it's clear that City want us to pay the majority of the fee for Rodrigo. Drew's absolutely right. That's what we're being used for here. If they didn't want Rodrigo and he wasn't on the market, City would just not sell to us. They would outright refuse after the Harry Kane negotiations. They don't want to sell. So what they're doing now, they're like, okay, if you really want Savinho, well, we want Rodrigo. So you bulk up 80% of that fee and we'll just hand over 20 million and get the deal done. But even if we do that, we bring in Savinho, we're going to be sitting here going, yay. They're bringing in Rodrigo from Real Madrid. We're still going to look embarrassing. We're still going to look stupid. You know what I mean? That's the reality of the position we're in now. We're just going to look absolutely dumb. Come out this window embarrassed with our pants pulled down. That's where it's going to be. You know, you bring in Savinho, they bring in Rodrigo. We're a laughing stock again.
I'm not a fan of this other player, but what you guys might be. But another option, Man United don't really want to sell Garnacho to Chelsea. They'd rather sell him to us.
I'd rather take Sancho, to be honest. I'd give him a go. I'd give him an opportunity if we had to. Sancho, Jadon Sancho.
Jadon Sancho.
Yeah, he done well at Chelsea last year. He done well.
Right winger.
He could play off both sides. I watched him play off the left for Chelsea.
Most wingers can play on both sides, can't they?
Well,
is there any way to salvage the window at this point?
Yeah, there is. There is. If you get loan deals in, perhaps get one player in, but you got to do it tomorrow with Man City. No fucking about. We've got no time to waste. Tomorrow, while we're up there, and Levy's up there with his staff, they'll all be there. All the recruitment team will be there. Don't worry about that. You just say, look, what do you want? Just tell us what a price you want for this player. We either say yes or no, and now we're going because we can't afford to diver now.
Yeah.
Right? And then I'd be looking to get Pellegrini, and I really would. And I'd be looking to get Danny Almo. He's not going to be out for long. Right, but he's such a good pass for the ball.
I tell you what, here's the thing, Alan. When you say, "Is there a way to salvage the window?" That's so subjective. Like my interpretation of salvaging the window, because I'm happy with Kudus. I'm happy with Polina.
Absolutely.
It's unfortunate that Takai has got this weird foot thing going on. I was impressed with Vuskovic, and I'm glad that he's finally joined, but obviously he's a kid.
I was going to say no king shaming.
Right. But like, you know, I don't know. Maybe my expectations aren't. Maybe I don't have particularly big expectations to begin with. But if we got in another player, let's say a top draw player, let's say we just pull something out of the bag and it's a 70, 80 million pound player. Yes, we're short. Yes, we could have done better. And you know, there is blame to be apportioned somewhere. I don't know absolutely where it goes, but I guess from my point of view, I'm not the sort of supporter that is gonna just go absolutely insane, smoke out my ears, like, what is this club doing? What are we doing? We're a disgrace. First person to go on Twitter and just write out this epitaph of just how just disgraceful everybody is.
I'd love to see it.
Right, but there are... You'd love to. So my definition of salvaging the window will be completely different to your definition of salvaging the window. Is completely different to probably Dave's. Like, I guess there might be two or three different answers here. Like, I would take, if it gave Thomas Frank what he wanted for the time being, I would be okay. I wouldn't like it, but if it was one more top draw player, I'd deal with it. Dave, I think, would be a bit more apoplectic. He would say, "What the fuck is going on with
Look,
this?" What, you know,
if it's a player that's ready to walk in and produce, no problem. I have no problems with it. I
but
just
if
look
that was it, if that was it, I'm saying, like, I think
look, I'll be
you
okay.
want at least 2 or 3, right?
Well, look, we did get Pelini, we got Kudos. Look, don't get me wrong, Madison and Kulusevski's injury takes the limelight off that a little bit, but I asked at the start of this window, I want 3 or 4 quality players in the door. If you're getting another one, that's 3 to a certain degree, so I'll be a little bit more calm. But the reality is, I just don't see what's left on the market for us to bring in that's really going to be that needle mover on the football pitch. And that's where I'm a bit pessimistic. Look, I'm open to be surprised. And if the club do it and pull sort of rabbit out of the hat, I'll be the first one to sit there. You know me, Drew. I'll be the first one to sit there and go, do you know what? Fair play. Thank you. We badly needed it. But I just really don't see what's left. And I think now we've had 3 months to do work. I think we've missed out on a lot of our targets because of how we've pissed about this window. And I think we're just literally blindfolded, throwing darts around the place and seeing what sticks.
We need to reinforce the Champions League.
Right. And that's the thing, right? And it was because we wasted so much goddamn time getting Frank through the door, missing the entire first portion of the window that was open when Liverpool struck, when Man City struck, when they got some targets through the door at that point in time. We waited till July 1st to really get this thing going, and even then, we were still taking our damn sweet time to get ourselves in a position to even make offers for an MGW or even an Eze. And now here we are, less than about a week before this thing closes. And even if they get a Savinho through the door or an El Kudus through the door, as far as I'm concerned, that still doesn't salvage the window. And what makes this even worse is we're coming off a trophy and we're coming off a new hire. And this is the end product before we get into the bulk of the Premier League season. It just does not raise confidence levels.
It's still the best window we've ever had. Although we're embarrassed by the Eze situation. The last time we brought 2 players in of quality, and we didn't really know too much about them, when we brought in Bentancur and Kulusevski in the January window. This time we brought in Kudus and Paulinho, right? Everyone thought Romero was going. He's on a 4-year contract, which is fantastic because I'm a fan. I know a lot of the fan base aren't, right? Then we sign off on Dan Sorrell. We knew he was coming, and Jed Spence starts an extended contract. I mean, this is still a very good window when you compare it to previous windows under Levy, and it isn't finished yet. So we're all hoping we get another couple of players in minimum. Who they are and what we don't know. But
what late night juice are you on, Adrian? I need some.
Why? But it's true though, Dave. When have we brought in better players than we've got now? When have we got Romero signed up, who was reputedly going, and then bringing Kudus and Paulinho? When have we done better? Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me. Name the players as well. Well, name them.
Yeah, give me a chance. Under Postecoglou, first window, we signed Van de Ven, we signed Madison, and a couple of others. Straight off the bat in that window, that was a decent window. We've had some decent windows. In my lifetime at Tottenham Hotspur, but the reality is we won a Europa League. Most other clubs win a trophy and they use that as a catalyst to kick on, to build on.
I'm agreeing.
We haven't.
What I'm saying is,
we sit here and praise the Kudos signing. We lost Son. He only come in to replace Son. We haven't actually improved. We haven't actually upgraded anything. It's been a dour window. This window was about bringing in quality, up in the level so that we can go and compete and not be embarrassed in the Champions League, try and claw ourselves up the league table, while also giving Frank the opportunity to try and deliver a domestic cup. You've got to remember, we sit here now and say, give Frank time. You go out of cups very early on, pressure will be on Frank. People can say that's not the case. Postecoglou made changes in the League Cup against Fulham. From that game onwards, people were on his case. People were on his back. Nuno was out of this club very, very quickly, despite everyone going after the Jose Mourinho. You need to give the next guy time. It's the same every time. You don't win games. And the reason why managers don't win enough games is because the squad isn't good enough. It's just not. This has been a piss-poor window. We have not capitalized on winning Europa League. Only Tottenham Hotspur can win a European trophy, and within 3 weeks, all the goodwill is gone, and within 3 months, we're a laughing stock again. Only Tottenham Hotspur can do that. No one's even talking about us being Europa League champions anymore because of how much of a mess this window has been. You bring in a manager, you bring in quality players to get him off to a good start and build a new dynasty at Tottenham Hotspur. We've missed out on 2 targets. We've had our pants pulled down by clubs we used to pick players from sport. How is this a good window?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's not a disastrous window, is it?
It is. We've got 3 full backs, which we had
Not
coming
when,
into this
no, I
window.
disagree. Not when you bring Paul Aaron and Kunis, and they're both class players. It's unfortunate we've got injuries. We haven't lost them players; they're just injuries. And then to get Romero signed up in a 4-year, everyone said he was gone. And even with the some remark, 80% of the fan base, he's crap now. Get rid of him, get him out. So bringing Kunis is an upgrade. As much as I love Sonny and he's a legend to me and always will be, but he's an upgrade. Now, I get it that people have gone in depressed mode because and we're embarrassing situation over Ezzy and the Morgan Gibbs White deal. That wasn't down to Spurs, right? That wasn't Spurs' fault. None of that. That was the fat Greek, right? Putting pressure on Morgan Gibbs White. We don't know what hold he had over him.
No, we don't body shame on this channel. We don't body shame.
Okay, all right. Fair enough. No, so I respectfully disagree, Dave. Okay, fair enough. Move on. Move on, Drew.
All right, let's move on. So, I'll tell you what.
That's
then
we're
let's
here
talk.
to express opinions, not
That's
to
what
hate.
we are here for. Express your opinions. Well, I'll tell you what. Is there a world? Let's if there's a sniff that Rodrigo would take a loan, do you not think are we a team that Rodrigo realistically, even if it was a loan, do you think we've got a chance, Dave?
You know what? I remember when all them years ago, was it when we sold Modric to them? We developed this link with Real Madrid. We never got anything out of it. We never got anything out of it. I remember deadline day, we tried to bring Fabio Concentrao, who was at Real Madrid that time. Couldn't get it over the line. We've never benefited from it. And to be honest with you, if you're a player leaving Real Madrid, you're going to go to a club that is going to give you the best opportunities to win trophies. You know, that's where he's going to go. He's not going to level down and come to a club like Tottenham Hotspur where we might have a good, you know, on an off chance we'll have an amazing season. We might push for something. He's not going to take that risk. Even when Luka Modric left Real Madrid, he went to AC Milan. He still went to a place where he sees himself winning trophies. You got to remember he's also leaving because he's not being picked by Xavi Alonso at the minute, and he wants to make sure he's in that Brazil team for the World Cup. I get coming to Tottenham Hotspur, he'll get game time, but I'm not sure it'll do his career any good, to be honest with you. I do not see him coming anywhere near a club like Tottenham Hotspur.
You hit the nail on the head with the Brazil World Cup thing, though, Dave. I mean, like, if we don't get nothing done with Silvinho tomorrow, right, then I think it's left field. I think there's a chance we could get Rodrigo on loan. He's not going to come to Spurs permanently, but it would certainly. I mean, there are the rare young players, Lamau, players like that. I like Simons that are very good at their age, even though they've not played in the Premier League. You think, yeah, surely this guy would be able to do it in our league. So, and the same with Rodrigo. I mean, like, I just think with the World Cup coming up, he's. I don't think he was picked in the. They were playing the other day, weren't they? I don't think
Problem is, though, Adrian, you'll have City queuing up for the loan deal. You'll have Bayern queuing up for the loan deal. You'll have all the Italian giants queuing up for the loan deal. He ain't
they want the money, though, Dave. Although they find money for deals, Barcelona, they're all skint. The Italian clubs are still skint. You get the odd deal done, but like Roma won out.
You have to look what Premier League clubs done. They dealt with the likes of youngsters to get round these rules. You think these clubs ain't going to work together in their best interest? Of course they are.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the reason I'm asking is because a lot of teams at the moment, I mean, there's been a lot of purchases. So especially teams in the Premier League, they've got to sell before they can buy at the moment, especially the likes of that lot up the road. And I don't think they're going for Rodrigo at this point anyway.
No.
But, I mean, is Savinho... Let me ask you, right? If Rodrigo won't come, let's play just a hypothetical game. If Rodrigo's too good to come to us, is Savinho good enough to come to us, or is he still too young and inexperienced? Because I'm now trying to find out at what point. Because I've got everybody in the chat saying there's no chance Rodrigo goes. There's no chance Rodrigo goes. So, like, I mean, we're either going for players that aren't going to come, or we're going for players that aren't good enough. I don't like. Where's this happy medium? Go on. Sorry, Alan. Go on.
No, I'm just. Rodrigo is still with Real Madrid, right? No one has gone in for him. I haven't heard anything about him going anywhere, or other than the Manchester United links, which don't sound super strong. I don't know where he's going.
I haven't heard any
Right?
United
I haven't heard
links.
anything. So maybe it's that he lacks suitors, and they don't want to for whatever reason.
What I heard was Real Madrid wanted something like 85 million euros for him, right? Which we're paying that sort of money for Savino. I know I'm going for. But there's a question like Dave alluded to, would he want to come to Tottenham on a permanent basis? He might come on loan for Brazil World Cup next year.
Yeah,
you know,
I could
you
see
have that. And then if it's that price, how many other clubs? Them lot, Chelsea have got to get rid of players. Villa have got to get rid of players. Arsenal spent now 60 million. If it's 60 million and they've spent now 284 million, that's their layout on their books. They won't have paid it all out in cash, but so they're not going to get no one. Newcastle struggling to get anyone in. And Man United, they've brought a few in, haven't they? I mean, they brought in the front line, and they brought in Mbuemo, they brought in Kuna, whatever. So they want to sell. That's why they want to get rid of Garnacho and probably Kobe Manu, who might be, but he's 20, much as he looked good for England, another inexperienced player. So, yeah. So I think loan deals could be a get out of jail card. I really do. But I mean, I don't know what the club are going to do. They must have they should have a plan now that if they can't do nothing tomorrow after that game with Man City, that we're going for bang him and him on loan or whatever, rather than bringing in a Joe Roden type or something like that, you know. And please, no, we should never be allowed to bring a player who's got the letter N at the beginning of the surname, because you know, in Kudu, in G, in Dombelli, Naibet, Norton, there's 5. Right, no one with the letter N in his surname, please. Right, just to lighten the load a bit.
I just don't know. Everyone says there's no way he would want to come to us. Which, again, I don't know that if I rated Rodrigo so high that I would say he would never come to us. I mean, everyone's got a price and everyone's got a reason why they would go somewhere. Again, if he has if there's a lack of suitors, I maybe that's why he would want to come to us, because no one else is in for him and he wants to get regular football. He's not going to get it at Real Madrid.
Well,
so
just to add to that, Alan, sorry to interrupt. It depending on what report you believe. When I looked into it, he's either on 208 million a week or 345. Now, I don't believe that a lot of the younger players at Real Madrid are in top money. They're attracted because it's Real Madrid. They win things. When they play well, they get the bigger contract. But they're not all in these like 300 grand a week touch. Them kids aren't. They're not. He won't be. I think 208 would still sounds a bit much for someone of his age at that club. His next contract, bang, probably go through the roof.
Right. I just mean, again, I understand that there are certain players like if we say, would Mbappe want to come to Tottenham? Tottenham really doesn't offer anything that a team like Real Madrid could offer him. I get it. But Rodrigo's trying to leave that Real Madrid team and he wants play time. And I think that's the reason why he wants to leave Real Madrid. If there's no one out there, do you stay, do you risk staying with a team that probably won't play you just because you don't want to go to a team that you think may not achieve what Real Madrid, for example, would achieve in a season? It still could be really good exposure for him. If we do well, it's the Premier League.
I hear what you're saying, but even if he doesn't play too much at Real Madrid, he's still going to make the Brazil World Cup team. The reality is, if we can't persuade Morgan Gibbs-White to kick up a fuss to join us, we can't persuade Eze to join us and get that deal done. We have no hope of getting Rodrigo done. Absolutely no hope. This guy is used to playing Champions League, going deep in the competition, picking up awards in La Liga. There will be all the big suitors around Europe. They will suddenly find money for this loan deal when it's on the market, and he will have so many other options than Tottenham Hotspur. If we can't get players from Premier League clubs that are traditionally used to finishing below us to join us, we are not going to convince Rodrigo to join us.
Right. But also, to that caveat, though, there's a difference between 9 days out and then also deadline day as well, too. Because there are going to be a handful of players that have been looking for a move that possibly wouldn't consider Tottenham mid-window, but as the window's closing and they understand their situation, that their current teams are probably going to be rotation at best, and they think their potential starters they may consider a last minute loan deal just to kind of kick the tires. But that being said, earlier today I saw a report that
I'll be back.
Real Madrid had accepted a loan deal for Rodrigo. I may have sent that to Dave as well too, but I kicked it onto my source to find out the validity of it, and there's absolutely nothing to it. And I just when I think about this in a whole, I wouldn't say that he's too good to be here. I just don't think there's anything that interests Rodrigo in coming here, considering the instability of this club at the current moment.
I don't know. I mean, we do have Champions League. I know that on its face, we may not seem like the threat that other teams will be in the Champions League, especially if you're talking about like Man City. But I don't know. Yeah. I just think that if he lacks for suitors, his options may be minimal, and they may not. He may have to make for himself a best of a bad situation, which may be to our advantage.
Yeah, what about Agent Paulinho and Agent Pigeon getting on the blower and saying, "Hey, Rodrigo, let's make it a threesome. Let's go."
Maybe we can get Ange on the phone to try to talk to him to convince him to come to Tottenham.
I think we stretch Rodrigo out till it's a worn-out piece of chewing gum. As Dave likes his appearance, I put this one up earlier. Dave, what about this guy? Would you take him?
Yeah, Lisa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd take him in. I think he's ready to come in and produce. Yeah, for sure. I'd have no problem bringing him. We say he'd be a guy I'd bring in. But honestly, when have we gone back to any former club of any manager and gone and picked their players? I'm almost sure. Clubs are cutting agreements now saying if you're taking our manager, you can't come back for our players.
Well, he's rumoured to want Newcastle, right? He's kicked up a fuss at Brentford, isn't he? He's obviously not going to play for him again. He's going to go.
Yeah.
I think they would actually prefer to sell to us.
Kind of pulling stock.
Probably because, but they're saying like Newcastle have offered 40 mil. I think they wanted 50. I think you'd get him for 45. He's 29. He can play across the front three.
Yeah, I'd take him. Like I said, I'd take him. I'm just not sure. Sure Brentford are going to sell us anybody this summer, to be honest with you. When we got Ange Postecoglou, everyone was linking us to Celtic players, didn't sign one. When we got Jose Mourinho, everyone was linking us to a lot of his past players, didn't sign any of them. In fact, the only manager that we signed one of his previous players on was Perisic. That's it. But when he was there, he had Perisic loaned out. So, I mean, we don't have a history of going back and getting former players, that managers have worked with previously and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm almost sure they're cutting deals behind. It's like, okay, you can have our manager, but if you think you're coming back for some of our players, think again, we're not selling. So that's just my opinion. Because, I mean, again, if he's on the market, and we know he's been on the market a while, why don't we get this wrapped up earlier on? If it's such an easy deal to do, I just don't think that they're going to sell to us personally.
I don't even know if it's that, right?
I don't think it was first on our list, but you don't tell the player that. You can't say you've got a list, otherwise you get a player who's fourth on second, fourth. I ain't coming to you, I was fourth on the list.
I don't think we had a list. I don't think we had a list.
Oh, we will have. We got lists of loads of players. All clubs have lists.
I don't know. I mean, if everybody's fit, if everybody is fit and firing, and you got, let's say for argument's sake, Kudus up front, Richarlison, are we saying that Wissa comes in and is the starting left winger, or is he just back up to all of those positions?
No, I think he'll come in and walk in as starting left winger. Look, you look at the market. I know Thomas Frank said today he's happy with his forward line. I mean, he says that, but all summer we've been trying to get in a number 10 and looking at wingers. So, I mean, we
are we going 5-3-2? Are we going 5-3-2 with him on the left inside as left inside striker and going two up front?
I think in the bigger games, I think you might have to go try 5-3-2 because, look, I know Johnson scores when he plays, but he doesn't offer
against bigger teams.
that's going to become a problem. You can't afford to carry anyone against bigger teams. So you're going to consistently see Frank switch back to this 3-5-2 special operation, like he calls it, because he knows he's not good. We don't have a good enough squad to go 4-3-3 against them, go toe-to-toe against them. He knows we don't. So he's going to keep switching it back to a 3-5-2 when we come up against bigger opposition. Against smaller opposition, he'll revert back to the 4-3-3, you know, but against bigger opposition, he won't, because no matter who he plays on that left-hand side, Udo Bertel or Johnson, for the majority of the game, he's carrying a player. You can't afford to do that in them games.
He might have to change his tactics because, look, we all know. One thing I was surprised about Frank. I mean, I liked it against PSG and all that. I've liked pre-season. All the pre-season games he's played 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, whichever way you want to call it. So I was in the mud because I said, "There's no way he's going to play 5 at the back against PSG," right? Which he did, right? Unexpected. So, but I think he's going to have to play a system that suits the players he's got by the end of this transfer window. And he's got permutations, but we know, like, what surprised me, the one thing that surprised me about Frank, although I didn't want Johnson at his club, first season 5 goals, and he gets 18, I've warmed to him, but I'm thinking, like, you're not a winger. You're not a winger. You don't look like a winger. I've seen him beat his man twice in these pre-season games so far, twice, right? And the annoying thing is he's got pace, but he's not a dribbler. That's the difference. He's a push and run winger, isn't he, with pace and that. So I can see him moving inside. I mean, Kudus has gone record as saying he likes to play as a deep line sort of 9. Not really a 10. He's not a 10. To me, a 10's someone like Maddison who can spray the ball about. You know, even if Eze had come in, Eze's not a 10. He's an attacking left-sided midfielder come left winger. He's not a 10. He's a ball carrier more than a passer. You know, so we want a passer. I want to bet that bill for us. He's just so good. But you know, and even then, so he's got options. He's got 2 9s there. Richarlison's going now. All this talk about him going to Palace or him going to Brentford, that's all bollocks. I mean, that's just stories written up at the very last moment. Right, that was anything to do with offers, isn't it? You know, but I can see, like, maybe Kudus might end up in the middle as a ball carrier. We know he can carry the ball, that's for sure, right? But I don't know. I mean, I'm just waiting to see what Frank does. You know, ask me at Christmas. You know,
I think the good thing about having Thomas Frank, you know, is the fact that he's not just going to go at what doesn't work, you know, and you know, he is going to be a bit more flexible, which ultimately I think will put a bit more points on the board, and you won't see us as in dire straits as we were in 17th last season. I think you will see us finish a bit higher up the table. But he's not Jesus. He can't turn water into wine. Yeah. Some of them players, you know, yes, he's a great developer of players. But some of them players,
I mean,
you know,
at the moment, Dave, I'd rather see if Solanke's fit. At the moment, I'd rather see Richarlison on the left, because what he gives you on the left, he's not a winger, but he gives you that shithousery and that aggression, and defenders don't like coming up against him. And he could be very effective on the, and plus he tracks back as well, like Solanke does as well. I think Richarlison will be very effective on the left, but he's not the answer.
No, I get what you're saying. Like, he'll work his nuts off, you know, great. But we seen last season, it became hard to watch because we had no quality going forward. At Tottenham Hotspur, I'm sorry, people in my generation, you didn't get into Tottenham for winning trophies. You got into Tottenham because we were fun to watch. My whole lifetime, we've always had fun forward players, fun wingers, and at least one fun midfielder to watch. You go through any generation, any squad, they'll all say to you, you look at the new generation, Kane and Son got them into Tottenham Hotspur. Players that fun to watch, Mavericks. We lacked that at Tottenham Hotspur. I'm sorry, that's one thing I can't tolerate. Even when we were worse in the league, we still had great flair players. I cannot tolerate the level of this forward line. And at the end of the day, they can work their nuts off like they done last season. Scoring goals at this level and creating goals at this level is the hardest thing to do in football. That's why all these other clubs are out there trying to bring in their number 10s. They're all pivoting back to bringing in a proper striker now, the old school sort of striker. They're all spending big money in the forward areas because they realise the Premier League's getting harder and you need to bring in better quality. And right now we lack massively. We will be back stuck in again praising these forward players for working hard. I don't praise forward players for working hard. I praise them for beating players, bringing pieces of magic like Kudos does. That's what you're supposed to praise forward players for. You praise your midfielders and your defenders for working hard, not your forward players. And I can't get into another season where I'm going, well done, Richarlison, ran your nuts off. Thank you, Solanke, ran your nuts off. I'm sorry, but at this level, with the wages you're on, running your nuts off should be a fucking guarantee when you sign on that contract for whatever amount, 1,000 a week it is. What we're actually paying you for is bringing that bit of quality outsider working your nuts off. And that's where they lack at Tottenham Hotspur, and that's where we will come unstuck again. That's where it'll be harder to win games. Put more points on the board to make the drastic climb up the table that people want. And look, people can sit there and say, Dave, you're mad. I warned last season with the transfer window we had when and I was a fan of Postecoglou, but his crowd even turned on me because I wasn't enamored with the signings. They were going, Dave, Postecoglou's magic. I says, look, managers are good, but you also need good quality players to work with. Postecoglou is not going to turn this into an amazing team. And look what happened. Them same people that were saying, Dave, get behind it. They're all calling for Postecoglou's head halfway through the season. The same thing will happen again this year if we don't bring in quality players before the window's out. So that's my prediction. But anyway, I do have to go. Lad. Bits I need to finish ahead of an early start.
I appreciate you can't.
I'll try and do as many Fridays as I can over the season. I do enjoy coming here. It's a good show.
I really appreciate it, dude. We got your banner down here at the bottom. So anybody that isn't obviously aware of Dave, get over and give him a follow. He's always got some fantastic content. You've got a watch along in the morning, which we're doing. Well, I'm doing the pre-game with you. We're starting bright and early at 3:30 a.m. Central US time because I am an absolute soldier. Because I love it. Because I'm absolutely shameless. We'll let you go. We'll let you go, Dave. Thank you so much for your time, mate.
I love your take on things, Dave. I love your take on things. Good time to plug the channel, I think, before back to you.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I just want to say, look, I know some people say, Dave, you're very down, you're very negative. But the reality is, I don't have a lot to cheer about. And I'm just one. I see the problems on the horizon. I find it hard to get excited about, stuff that I can see for coming down the line. But, if we pick up results, I'll be the first one with my bucket hat on, no T-shirt, celebrating goals and cheering on the boys. So, guys, hopefully you understand where I'm coming from. Gentlemen, you have a good evening. I'll see you tomorrow.
You too, brother.
See you later.
Take care. See you soon.
Guys, we've got this is a bit where I normally interrupt. Give the channel a bit of a plug. Big up to Dave and the Orange Shots, but get over there. It's fantastic content. They are like one of the motherships out there of podcasters where we're just a mere fledgling group that's been going for a year, right? 250 of you watching us on various platforms. Big up to you all. Big up to everyone in the chat for your comments and questions as well. Big up to everyone who watches on playback. And we're not far short of 1,400 subscribers, guys. So if you could, that little red square YouTube button in the corner, if you could click on that and subscribe to the channel, it helps the algorithm. We do pride ourselves on bringing you fact-based content and a mature and sensible debate here. I mean, some might disagree with that, but we do. Also, our shows go out every Friday. Drew hosts, and I'm just a pain in the arse as his co-host, basically. And I try and give him all loads of banners and facts. I do a lot of work behind the scenes. And Sunday, EMF hosts at 10 o'clock as well, and I co-host with him. And Tuesday, I co-host, and I'll be co-hosting with Tom, our other admin, who's very busy. He's become a father again, so he's very busy in his life. So we're letting him do what he wants, basically, because we value his input as well. With that, back to you, Drew.
Right, boys. Where do we go from here? Let's talk about tomorrow's game. So obviously against the Citizens, our whipping boys. I tell you what, actually, really quickly before I do that, I want to say big up to Faz Radfar40 Spurs Neil says Dave is a legend. He absolutely is a legend. And also I want to say thank you and a big shout to Sean Butler. There was a Sean Butler raid. I cannot believe they were going for as long as they were going for. That is fantastic. I'm going to have to go back and catch the second half of that because there must have been. I mean, that's got to be what's that, a 5-hour, 4.5 hour stream, something ridiculous like that. So yeah, big up to everybody that's come over from there. I very much appreciate you all. We got the old Butler raid, BS Monitor Butler raid.
Don't worry, guys, because when Sean's not doing a show, he's about to do one. So it's like,
Right.
he's
Yeah.
everywhere.
If he's not on, he's about to be on. Don't you worry about it. Levy, my chairman raid. My chairman raid. Brilliant. All right. Well, let's talk about tomorrow. Predicted lineups. We got some injuries. Solomon's still out. Dragusin's still out. Takai, Udogi not quite ready, although he is in training. He just needs a couple more sessions. And then obviously the long-term Madison and Kulusevski. Kulusevski, who I absolutely adore, as Steve Silver well knows. And
come on now.
I just want to, I mean, I was under the impression that this guy was back end of September, October. That's what I'd been led to believe. And then, turns out it's going to be February, March. So absolute shocker.
Par for the course for our medical staff.
Par for the course. I think we got, can anyone confirm, anybody, can we confirm, do we have a new medical team yet? Has the LinkedIn scenario, have we scored a couple of beasts? Did we get some people through Indeed? What's going on? If anyone confirm, anyone?
Let me give you some, I've got some banners here from what I did ages ago.
Oh goodness, here we go. Banners galore in it. Banners galore.
This is the first banner I've got on our coaching staff. These are all new guys, right?
I didn't say coaching staff. I said medical team.
I'll keep just hang on. It'll be on the second one. Right, Matt was right first. So it's in this one then. So we've got
still
Physio,
no.
Physio. We got Physio
nothing.
Nick Stubbins. He came from Brentford, and Tom Perriman, strength and conditioning. So we've got things on the player side here, but that's about it, Drew.
For anyone enjoys Marvel movies, this is like the bit between the bit at the end when you're having to go through all of the tiny writing and the tiny words just to get to the last scene where you got two people on a boat in the middle of nowhere. What are we doing here? So I don't know if it's one of those things. Like I'm always eager to poke fun at our own team, but if we do have a new medical department and they are going to start getting us all fit, then I don't want to, I don't want to poke fun at them just for the sake of poking fun at them. But anyway, these boys are out, so we are going with something out of this lot. Obviously, it's going to be Vicario in goal. I'm expecting, and stop me, anybody. I'll let you guys take the midfield because I think it's probably easy for me to assume Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, and Mr. Spence. Alan, what do you think for the midfield? Oh, go on.
I was just going to say, before you get into it, do you think we're going 4 at the back or 5?
Yeah, all right. Throw Danzo in there as well because I do think we're
We
going.
don't know. We don't know. This is good because if we don't know, City won't know.
So if it's 3 in the midfield, I'm going with Bentancur, Polina, and Sarr.
And then, so all right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's just do this. Do you think it's going to be 4 or 5 at the back, Alan?
I think we're going to set up like we did against PSG. So probably 5 in the back.
Okay. So 5-5-3-2.
Yeah, that'd be my guess.
5-2-1-2, maybe something like that. You're in agreement, Steve. I saw you nodding your head there.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think it's I think that would be the right choice, just considering the firepower that Man City is about to deploy on our asses. But for the from the standpoint that we're going to be in a position where we're going to have to be rock solid and compact and organized in the back in order for our high press to even work. In order for us to even be able to engage in a counterattacking, we're going to have to be rock solid in the back, and that starts with that back 5. And it's my back 5 is Porro, Danso, Romero, Van de Ven, and Spence. With the midfield 3 of Polina, Bentancur, and Sarr, and my 2 at the top is going to be Richarlison and Kudus.
Nice. Adrian?
Who needs a left winger when you're going 5 at the back and using wing back? Killed all the earlier conversation, right?
Right.
So, like, I mean, this is what we can do if we don't get the. See, this is the thing. If we don't get the players back, I mean, imagine when everyone's fit and Madison and Kulu's back, we'll all be scratching our heads. What are we going to do now? Are we going to, you know? So, but we probably won't see them this season now. I mean, maybe Kulu. There's a lot of bad rumours about him. I think we're going to see him by Christmas, but they sound like no. I think we will. Yeah. So yeah, 5-3. Danso in there. You know, the 5 again. We had a young midfield against Burnley, so it's definitely going to be Paulina and Bentancur coming back. And Sarr's been our best player this year for all the criticism he takes, pre-season and everything else. And you couldn't have a more solid midfield, could you? We couldn't pick a more solid midfield than that.
Yeah.
It's just a question of creativity and getting forward. So it may be like PSG, not only will the wing backs get forward, but like we see crosses in from different angles into Kudus and Richarlison, because, you know. So yeah, I think I'm virtually agreeing with Steve and you. Like, we've all sort of picked the same team. I think we could, if it's a back 4 and Danso's not there, it's the same midfield, but you're adding another up front. Well, Solanke will probably be on the bench still. So you're still looking at Kudus and Richie, because Richie is in form. he normally gets a 5 or 6 game period before he falls off the cliff, like. And then it's a question of who plays on the left, you know. So again, you know, I mean, like, you could try and give him Odebert a chance. He's a dribbler there. I want to see more of him anyway. But
I wouldn't be opposed.
I think he'll go Johnson
Niall
again.
O'Connor right there.
And I think he should have learned, because even when Postecoglou tried to play Johnson on the left, it never quite worked, did it?
Right.
I mean,
What were you saying? Sorry, what did you say? Hang on, Adrian. What did you say, Steve?
I said, Niall O'Connor right there, with his quote right there up on the screen.
Okay.
It's somewhat intriguing as well too, having Solanke play the target man with Richie kind of playing off the shoulder as a false with Kudus at the 10. I wouldn't be opposed.
Does anyone see a cheeky Sam Allardyce 2 banks of 4, like 4-4-1-1, and having one of the 2 strikers up top dropping deep and just having 2 sitting midfielders and then the wingers?
With Kudus playing as a
Sam
deep
Allardyce
line striker with Richarlison in front of him, because Richarlison can't play that deep role. He just hasn't got.
What about? I mean, I know it's a risk if you play Solanke and Richarlison, because obviously then you're leaving. You know, if they both then pick up injuries, you're absolutely screwed.
Johnson,
could you not? Yeah, well, could you not see a scenario? I feel like Solanke's smart enough to be able to drop back into that role, so you could do Solanke, and then you could still utilize Kudus on the right and have him feeding both of them.
Yeah, I mean, why? If you Johnson,
my guy, Vibav Dash over here. I hope Johnson starts tomorrow. It's my guy right there.
I've got nothing against Johnson playing as an inside forward if Frank does it, because he is a good finisher. He is a good finisher. So if he was playing off the main striker, and he will get his shots off. So this is, even though we know we need reinforcements, we can still struggle for permutations here, like, to find out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be Paulina and Bentancur. They didn't play against Burnley, really, did they? So
right. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, other managers are only one game at a time. I mean, that's the same with Frank. I think he thinks about the game is about to play on the one after. I think he, like chess, is one move ahead. Like, so.
Right.
But we'll see when the team is announced tomorrow.
Very true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, pitch 58 right there caught my attention, because he's absolutely right. If there was any Brentford player we should go through, it should be Damsgaard. I 100% co-sign with that. 100% co-sign that.
Yeah. I mean, it took him a couple of seasons, but he's actually done not too bad breaking into that 10 role.
Outside of Mbemo scoring 20 goals last year, he was probably their best player.
Yeah. Interesting. Solanke's still not 100%, says BS Monitor. Yeah, it's very true. Very true. There's a couple of players that still aren't, which is even, arguably puts us in an even worse, position than we're in currently, really. But I don't know. We move on. We move on. I still, still going to the whipping boys, right? Still going. Let's have a look. What's everyone expecting tomorrow? Alan, we'll come up to you. Did you happen to see them play Wolves last week and happen to see how good Rinders is pulling the strings for them?
Yes.
Yes.
They destroyed Wolves, didn't they?
They did. It was 4-0
Yeah.
by the end of the game.
But then again, we've shown resilience in the past, specifically against Manchester City. So the game's not at home, is it? The game is away.
No, it's away. It's not there, and it's the early kickoff as well. So
Yeah.
Which is like a home game, Alan, for us, actually. It's like a home game.
The old empty had it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
I still think I still think we're gonna win tomorrow, to be honest.
Okay. All right. You're optimistic. Do you think it'll be a case of just soaking up the pressure, playing counter attack?
Yep.
You don't think we're going to go and impose our game on them?
I think that our center backs will nullify Erling Haaland like we usually do.
Okay.
I don't think he does well when you have a Romero type center back who can be very, very physical with him.
Yeah.
Probably put on a bruise or two just to let him know he's there.
Well, I think the last time Romero met Haaland, I think he did go through him.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that nullifies that. And I know Reinders was doing very well and but who do we expect in their goalie? It's not going to be Ederson, is it?
It'll be Trafford, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, they'll be not at 100% in the back, and I think they can be gotten at. Kudus is amazing. I've rewatched the goals from last week against Brentford, and Kudus is just unreal. He really is a game changer, and which is so exciting. I think we'll do well against Manchester City. I'm not ready to start to look down on the team, considering how well we played against PSG and how well we played against Burnley.
Burnley, yeah.
Mm.
Maha Artist came in with a $2.99 super sticker. Thank you very much for that, man. Very, very much appreciated that. Thank you so much. There was a little thing here that I wanted to read. Vibav Dash says he's a Spurs supporter from India. Thank you very much for coming in. Not seen your name before, so I thought I'd give you a quick shout. Says he's an optimistic about tomorrow. No, the whole Eze thing was a huge blow, but I love this club. And as Thomas said, we want players who play for the badge, Coys. So big up. Thank you very much for popping in. And then Faz Radfar, who's a friend of the show, and I've seen him over a lot at the Irish Hotspur, big up, says we need players to run in behind their high line, and Johnson can, in fact, do well against City. Steve, what's your take on how it's going to play out tomorrow? Any thoughts on which way it's going to go?
So here's the thing. Last week I kind of have to take a step back from last week's performance versus Burnley, because we all have to realize that it's Burnley. A team that most likely is probably going to go down the season. From that performance, we were able to take advantage just because of Burnley's inefficiencies on their back line, right? We were able to take advantage of the space that we were given. That's probably not going to happen against Manchester City. Did any of you guys think that they're just going to allow Richarlison to camp in the channels and be able to peel off a shoulder and create space? I just don't think so, right? So the other thing that I'm a little bit worried about is the fact that we don't have a competent left-sided attacker. We don't have an attacker from underneath. And so I probably would assume that City's probably going to try to overload the right-hand side and cut off the end line. So, Kudus can't get around, or Kudus can't create a space where he's able to ping balls into the box, right? From this standpoint, when I think about this match, Manchester City is probably going to control about 65 to 68% of the possession. I think that's probably going to be a given, right? We're essentially going to sit back, play very good defense and try to keep them, from occupying space and just continuously playing balls into the box, right? So for me, the way that I'm looking at this is that the biggest key for me is going to be high pressing. If we can systematically put pressure on the ball carrier and make them play quick passes or make them play errant passes to the point we're able to create some turnovers, we're going to be able to strike on the counterattack a little higher up the pitch, where we're going to be in positions to get whistles, maybe get a couple free kicks, maybe a couple corner kicks, and then from that standpoint, we have a pretty good opportunity to at least score off a set piece. But that being said, from the run of play, I just don't see how we're going to be able to manage, I just don't see how we're going to be able to manage scoring goals in the run of play. I think it's going to have to come off of set pieces, if anything. But that being said, I think it's going to be a low scoring affair. I don't think City are going to pop 4 goals against us. But I think, and I hate to be the guy that just shits on everybody's parade. But this is not the same City team that we went up last year and put 4 against them. They're a much better team this season, and just the way that Pep Guardiola is going to try to attack, we're going to have to be resolute on the defensive side before we can even consider getting into the counterattack. So I think it's going to be a low scoring affair, and I think I'm going to have it 1-1.
Fair play. Patch Adams has asked, I'll come to you, Adrian, in a sec, just about obviously thoughts on the game. Says any thoughts on Akalusho? I think it's Akalusho or Akalusho. I honestly don't know too much about him, obviously, other than what's on the screen here. I've heard good things. People better than me in the game that have scouted and do the FB reps and the Y Scout thing will know more than I do. All I've heard is just that, he's very well thought of in Europe. It's just whether he can pass the sniff test in the Premier League, and that's always the thing when you're dealing with, either just youngsters coming from sort of slower leagues. And that's not to say it can't be done. I'm never one for writing players off, but there is always, I think if you go for somebody like this, I don't know what the ratio or percentage is. You reckon maybe 3 in 10 absolutely hit the ground running? Maybe the other 4 take 6 months, and maybe 3 you never see again.
It's such a wide discrepancy of talent between the French Ligue 1 to the Premier League. It's it's such a massive jump. Like you're better off getting players from the Bundesliga or Serie A than the French League.
Yeah,
it's such a massive gap. But let me ask you guys this question real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
What did you guys make of Richarlison's performance last week, considering it was against Burnley, right? What did that potentially tell you anything about what we might be able to expect from him this season, or do you guys just think that was a one-off against a bad defense?
My cynical, facetious side wants to say in the timeline of Richarlison, we can probably expect another brace in maybe 2028. If you go by the Everton brace, the Brazil brace, the Burnley brace, I'm thinking maybe we're due to see that comet in around 2028. But in all seriousness, I actually think he put in a shift. And I genuinely think that if you can get that Richarlison consistently, and that is the key, if you can get him consistently and he'll give you that sort of performance leading up to the World Cup, then all day long, I would take him all day long. If it means that you can then put money that you would have to put on a 9 somewhere else. But no, by no means is he the end game.
Right. I think he'll drop off and then he'll score a hat full of goals for Brazil World Cup. No, I mean, look, I want him gone. I haven't changed my mind. I hope he proves me wrong and goes on a cracking run and has a great season. He's not leaving this club no matter all the rumours. I want him gone. I want Basuma gone. I want Gill gone. I want Solomon gone. Get a few out and then get a few more in. But he's just got to do it. look, he's got to be consistent without breaking down with injury to turn me around. I hope he does. You know, I'd love to be wrong, but you know, you always want every player at the club to do well. That's not always going to be possible. That is being a bit delusional. That's not always going to happen. But like, I think he'll do this year and he'll be gone either on a free transfer. They'll just let him go. I think because he's had time. I mean, it's like Basuma's had 3 years. And then the problem is fans fall in love with players too quickly once they then have 1 or 2 good games. Look, it's a great start, Richie. Great start. You've even done well pre-season. Keep it up. That's what I'm saying. Just keep it up.
Absolutely. No,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's the reason why I asked, though, because his preseason was actually pretty good, right? It looked like he was building up to that. But that being said, I don't know.
And he was good against PSG.
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs. They need to treat him. Not, I don't say kid gloves, but there was a reason that they held him back, didn't they? They gave him an extra game, and Thomas Frank came out and said, "We're building him. We want to get him to a point where we think he's not going to break down or anything." And it's good to see. It's refreshing to see. I think the same can be said of VDV, right? I mean, in the couple of games that we've seen him play, he's looked all right. There hasn't been any kind of, oh God, no, he's pulling up again. Like, they seem to be managing these guys, and long may it continue. I just wanted to give a quick shout out because I've not seen this name before in chat, and I hope I'm not going to butcher it. It's Vidar Bjerke. Says we should go for Sorloth. I'm terrible with the accents through the letters. But, another guy, unfortunately, I don't know too much about, but apparently he's friends with Haaland.
He plays for, was it Norway? I think?
Yeah, he's friends with Big Boy.
I think he's currently playing for Atletico Madrid.
Oh, okay. Cool. And then just real quick, Steve T, didn't need to do this. Thank you very much. Says I enjoyed your down-to-earth talk on Sean's show, Drew, and sent in a little super chat there. Well, thank you very much, Steve. I really do appreciate that. There's a couple of people out there that don't like me sitting on the fence too much, but I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
That's all right. Splinter's a good player.
Yeah, Splinter's right. Keep you on your toes is what it is. Big up, gents. Is Eugene in here? Says Drew,
big up, Eugene.
Do the accent. You're gonna have to specify a little bit. You mean your accent? I don't know. I can do a few, but you're going to have to specify, my man. You're going to have to specify. Adrian, we'll come to you tomorrow. What's the score on the door?
2-1 or 2-0 Spurs.
All right.
We won 2-1.
2-0 Spurs. Wow. Loves it. Loving it. Frank's got previous for that, right? Did Brentford go up and do a 2-0? Couple of goals on the counter attack with really good goal from Ivan Toney at the time, if memory serves, I think.
Yeah, I agree with Steve. They're going to have, I think, 68% of the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, Frank might surprise us and go 4-2-3-1. He may well do that. I mean, he didn't sit back with Brentford. So just because we're thinking we've seen it at PSG, I mean, that's just thrown another, curveball at us. We're thinking, we're done to get PSG the best team on the planet, even though Chelsea like to think they're world champions. Yeah, well, they're delusional anyway, aren't they? That's, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
I just think they would get split apart if they tried to play a 4-2-3-1 against City de Pro.
Steve don't want us going toe to toe. You don't want us going toe to toe with them, like.
No, I would like to see us be a little bit more pragmatic against a team that right now is moving the ball incredibly well. That team is just lights out, legit.
Were they away at Wolves or home to Wolves last week?
They were at the Molineux.
That's a good score anyway. Anywhere, but so what?
And Rinders as well. Like, I hate to keep going on about him, but like cream rises to the top, doesn't it? Like you can just see when a player is just arguably. I don't want to say he was the best player on the pitch by a country mile. I'm sorry. It's literally he got pulled out of AC Milan. I can't believe they got it. He was on a 5-year contract and they got him for less than 50 million because they needed the money. It's absolutely ridiculous.
What reindeer was it? Was it Donna, Prancer, Rudolph?
I tell you what, with the way he was lighting it up, it was definitely Rudolph. Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, that was shocking too, because I didn't see him leaving AC Milan at all, and
Right.
yeah, jeez, he ended up in
the
City,
fact-
ends up in City.
Yeah. Eugene says our lack of depth will be our downfall, unfortunately, just like in the PSG game.
Loving the
Yeah.
positivity, Eugene.
But you know, but if we finish 2-2, man, I'm happy. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, it was terrible to cough up that type of lead. But that being said, you know, getting a result, you know, at the Etihad, 2-2, 1-1, dude, I'll be thrilled.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. We are going to at least score a goal. Who's on the score sheet tomorrow? Is it going to be another one from Richie? Is he going to be a nuisance, you think?
Kudos.
Is he going to be the leading scorer in the Premier League after 2 games? Let's go.
I don't know. I still think Papsar might put one in.
Yeah.
He does score in big games.
Yeah, he scores in big
He scored
games.
against them before as well. I think Kudos is going to get one.
I hope Kudus will get one. He deserves one.
Yeah. I'd take assists all day long. Doesn't bother me. As long as he puts them on the plate for the pigeon to feed off. Let's go. I'm here for it.
I'm gonna say goals from. Yeah, that was a good shout, Alan. I'm gonna say Papsar, and then we're gonna get I say Papsar, and we're gonna get one off a set piece from either. I'm gonna say Papsar and Romero are my 2 goal scorers.
I thought BS Monitor, this makes me laugh. I thought this was an area code, but I realised you want 8 behind the ball. This isn't this is a formation. This is 8-1-1. Brilliant. Legit. I thought, yeah, that's funny. It's tickled me. It's tickled me. It has. All right. Tell you what, we're coming up to a couple of hours. Anything else that anyone wants to get off their chest before we call it a night? Because just realised I've got to be up early for this.
Yep.
This pre-game.
This doesn't look. They're all hard games. This doesn't look too hard coming up, does it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's play a quick game then. How many games we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 games, a total of 21 points on the board, people. What are we thinking? Adrian, you want to run through these?
Yeah, 21 points.
You 21. For anyone that can't see the screen, we have the next 7 fixtures. So we got Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton, Wolves, Leeds, Villa, and Everton. And when I say it out loud, 21 points it's not outrageous, is it? Is it?
No.
It's not, is it?
No.
Steve, is it?
21 points from 21 points from what? 1, 2, 3,
7.
4, 5,
All
7
wins.
fixtures.
7 wins.
Right?
7-0-0.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I actually have it at 15 points because I do believe there's going to be a couple draws in there. But when you look at that schedule, there's really nobody that stands out that you're actually, that actually puts the fear of God in you, except for what, like maybe Brighton, maybe Villa. But that being said, though, that this is the part of the schedule where we have to take advantage of it, because turn November, then all of a sudden it ramps up, right? So if they can bank 15 points out of 7 matches, man, I'm happy.
I don't know, some of those teams like Leeds and West Ham, we have last season we have a tendency we tend to overestimate and down tools
5 wins. Yeah.
On those kinds of games, and so those make me nervous.
I don't know what the final score was West Ham today, but I can see them getting relegated.
West Ham was 5-1 or 6-1, maybe. It was ridiculous.
Was it?
Cricket score.
Yeah. Oh, you mean today? Yeah, it was 5-1.
5-1. Yeah.
So confidence will be crap there, won't it?
Paqueta scored. I know people want Paqueta. He scored today.
He did. It was a belter as well. Apparently, he put his value up by about £5 million, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Just plug for Drew's show next week, because this will be part of it. Because on Thursday we've got the Champions League draw in Monaco. So
I'm going to be there on site as part of the Spurs Diehards TTID on site. Yeah, European draw
in Monaco. With Princess Grace, if she's still alive.
Monaco?
So obviously every podcast becomes. We'll bring.
Oh,
I'll
sorry. I thought you said Conoco. I thought you said
Oh,
Conoco because there's a
Conoco.
gas station. There's a gas
Oh, right.
station end of the road.
I've never heard of that brand.
My bad.
So obviously we'll get the 4 pots up and let you all have a good discussion who you're terrified of and who you like and whatever. So that'll be part of Friday's show. Obviously the transfer window will be part of Friday's show still, and then it ends a few days afterwards. Thank fuck, because I hate the transfer window because it's just all bullshit.
Man, you must have had a rough summer there, Adrian.
He just wants it over with. He's fed up with them.
You lot know me. I'm fact-based and logical. There's nothing
Sure.
logical about the transfer window at all. It's just
for sure.
There's very few facts. All these smart-ass IDKs in the nose, they're all clever after the fact. Oh, Spurs could go in for this player. Spurs should go in for this player.
They're on the
Spurs
edge.
are interested in this player. Spurs have made a big step to get this
Inching
player.
towards.
You know.
Yep. I hear you.
I
Yeah.
mean, if bullshit could fly, they'd have their own fucking air force, wouldn't they? Most of them, you know what I mean? So,
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, boys. We're probably going to call it there. Big shout to everybody that's been in the chat, that's been keeping the conversation going. Very much appreciated. Thank you so much for the raid from the Spurs Talk Show and also from Pure Coys. Also, a very big shout to Maha Artist for the $2.99 super sticker, and also Steve T for the £2 super chat. Thank you so much for your
oh man,
yeah, for your props.
I was
give you a new
hoping
intro.
Peter Cahagias would be,
Hang on. Sorry, Adrian. What are you saying, Steve?
I was hoping Peter Cahagias was going to be here gifting out memberships for you guys.
Yeah, don't know where
It's
he's
kind of
been,
a-
but I tell you what, you always expect him,
gift,
but
mate.
I mean, don't always expect it. But it's very, very, very much appreciate everybody, everybody tuning in. Very much appreciate everybody giving their hard-earned money over to us. It doesn't go underappreciated. Adrian, you got your finger up in the air. What are you saying?
Yeah, did a new intro. I'm making more and more music. Did a new intro for you today. You've got a new outro. Give us some feedback in the comments on the music, guys. You know, if you like it or not. I mean,
Please give
I
me
don't care
feedback.
if you slate it when I've spent hours on it. If you slate it, that's fine, right? And the other thing, again, I always say, look, there's still 180 of you on various platforms viewing us. Thanks for your support. It's good for the algorithm. Like I say, we're not far short of 1,400. If you get us over that, that'd be wonderful. And the subscribe button's in the bottom right-hand corner. We can't see it. You can see it in red. So smash the like button. See the rotating ribbon at the bottom. Leave a comment and please subscribe to the channel because it helps us a lot. We are a young channel and we could do with all the support we can get. And back to you, Drew.
Yeah, I just want to say one very last plug for these two gentlemen above me. Alan, you got anything going on Team Tottenham Go currently, or has work got you grind into the bone?
Work has got me crazy busy right now, so it's all work all the time. But I hope to have something coming up. I need new content, so yeah, at some point I will get something on there.
That's all good. Well, yeah, everyone get over there, give it a follow, because when the content does come, it will be a bomber, let me tell you. And Steve, stateside footy, what have we got coming up? I'm sure you're a very busy man, what with ITK in and MLS in and EPL in. It's all the numbers. These are proper alphabet over here.
That's exactly right, man. I've commandeered 3/4 of the alphabet. So tomorrow morning, obviously, I'll be on the Irish Hotspur to do the pre-match build-up. But that being said, the Hotspur watch along goes live at 7:30 as our beloved Spurs take on Manchester City. Tomorrow night we have the MLS live stream as FC Cincinnati plays host to NYCFC. And then
that's the rest of the letters. That's the rest of the letters taken care of.
And then Sunday we have a Premier League show. I have a Premier League show with the Dermatron. I believe that's going to be at 5:00 on Sunday Eastern time. And then of course on Thursday we will also have a quick little Premier League show to kind of not the Premier League, a quick Champions League show to go over the draw. And talk a little bit of Tottenham when it comes to the Champions League. So that's going to be up this upcoming week, as well as the U.S. men's national team playing host to South Korea coming up in early September as well too. So we have a lot of U.S. soccer, and we also have a lot of Tottenham Hotspur. So head over there and make sure you hit the subscribe buttons over there.
Awesome. Yeah, do that. Go and hit the subscribe button. And we've had a couple of new subscribers here. We've got BS Monitor and Vabab Dash, who's come in, says, love the conversation. I've subscribed. Hope to see you soon. And then BS Monitor said about to subscribe, like the chat. So that's awesome. Really, really appreciate that. It makes what we do over here so much more worthwhile than it already was. So thank you very much. Another quick plug. We've got the show well, not we, but Adrian has his show with Ian on Sunday. And then he's got a show on Tuesday. We're back on Friday. Everybody, take care. We'll see you soon. Have a good weekend. And come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you
Kulusevski forever.
Till I die. Johnson, LA.
Till I die.
We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die hard, heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die hard, heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die hard, heart and soul. Lily white and navy blue. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die hard, heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die hard, heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die.